Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me? Yep.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Perfect. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Nice to
Good.
meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you in person-ish too. What are you up to today?
Ooh, not a whole lot. We just getting into a new house, so lots of work around the house and in the yard ready, getting it ready to live in type of thing.
Nice. Where are you living at?
So I live about an hour west of Minneapolis
Okay.
in a little small town out here. You're in
Sturgis.
Sturgis?
Yep.
Sturgis, okay. So how far in South Dakota is that from Minnesota?
About 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Way other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way other side.
Nice.
Yeah, we're only
Okay.
like 30 miles from the Wyoming border. So
Okay. Very
way
nice.
over
Yeah.
here. Do you ever come over this way or have you done any music stuff over in
Well,
Black
I've
Hills?
never done anything music wise over there. I've been there pheasant hunting a few times. I've driven through like that area a couple times in my life, but not too many times.
Yeah. Our side of the state is definitely a lot prettier than the side where like Sioux
Oh,
Falls
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah,
I
we're
remember
lucky.
everybody told me flat South Dakota wasn't. Then I went out to the Black Hills. I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, it's much better. Much better.
Do you ever make it out to Minnesota for any music out here?
I haven't done any music stuff in Minnesota yet. Um, it's since it's such a drive, it's kind of hard to justify, doing any gigs that
Right.
far away yet, but unless we could get a whole group of them together or something, but I would love to
Totally.
because like I would say at least half of the CMO artists probably live in the Minnesota area. So it'd be
That
cool to
many,
get to
huh?
come over
Okay.
and do some more collaboration stuff.
Yeah, lots of live music in the Twin Cities.
Yeah. That's
Lots of it.
yeah,
And
that's what I
all
figured.
around. Like
What's
whole
that?
state likes live music. It seems like
Oh yeah.
the whole state likes live music for the most part. Like I lived in Vegas for a while, and out there, like you can never find like you have to have a booking agent. You have to have all sorts of crazy stuff
Oh
just
man.
to get a gig anywhere, any restaurant. It's like, dang, I miss Minnesota.
I know. I wish like we have a fairly decent music scene in the summer, but that's it. It's kiboshed for the winter time. There's just not enough going on and
How big of a city is Sturgis?
it's about 7,000. So
Oh, okay.
it's not huge.
So when the motorcycle stuff's going on, is it pretty popping at that time or what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That it turns into about a 500,000 people in our little tiny area. I mean, it's expanded
For
now like
a month? A week?
outside the Sturgis area, but for the most part, yeah. Our At any given time there's probably 250,000 people in town that week.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. That's a lot of. How long does Sturgis last? What is it? A couple weeks?
It's officially 10 days long, but a lot of people come in the week before because they don't want to fight the crowds. So they'll come in and see pretty much everything there is to see ahead of time. And the only reason to really stay is like all the concerts that are put on. If there's the artist you want to see is towards the middle or the end of the week, then you hang out. But a lot of people are starting to come a week or two early because you can pretty much everything's pretty much open and going by then, so it makes it a little more enjoyable.
Wow, dang. So do the people that live there, do they hate Sturgis Week?
It's a love-hate thing. Some of us like I usually go besides doing music, I bartend, so it's really a great money-making week for me, but it is kind of a pain. I mean, you can't get around, you can't get to the grocery store, you can't go get gas, like it's just ridiculous. So in that
You got
aspect,
to stop on
it
everything before they get there, huh?
right. Yep. So you just try to be prepared. I mean, it's only a week really, but it's still a lot. A lot of prep work. A lot of people rent their houses out. I rent mine out
Um,
because I live alone, so it's easy for me to just pack up and get out for a week and Airbnb it or whatever. Especially if
good
we have a bunch of
idea.
music going on, then I'm not home anyway, so might as well.
So do you normally play with a band?
Yeah. Yep, I have a full band. We do a lot of gigs around the Sturgis area, and then we've been branching out more and more. We did a lot of Nebraska stuff this year. There's a lot of acoustic stuff here, but I really don't do that. So we pretty much just try to go for the full band thing. How about you? Do you have full band?
Cool. No, not normally.
No.
Normally I just I had a band kind of COVID came, but then when COVID came, it all just kind of just it didn't really work out.
Yeah.
But mostly I play by myself. If I can find the right band, and it's been a struggle kind of finding the right band. But when that time comes, you can always like hire lots of musicians out here where you can just hire and they'll come for gigs. And I've done that before, but I don't have like a Johnny Williams band or anything like that.
No. That's okay though. There's a lot of benefit to doing acoustic stuff I'm learning. Like I kind of wish I would have been doing that. Um, but now I mean, not that I can't now, but I think a lot of people built like a real genuine following doing acoustic stuff. So that
That's
seems
more my style of music, anyways. Is kind of more not super upbeat, but more mellow, more sit down type music, and so it seems to work for me for the most part. But I'd like to have a couple more people, like another guitar, and that's kind of more what I'll do is like another person or guitar and a bass player,
yeah.
some harmonies.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I like to keep it kind of intimate and just more chill, kind of sit back. I like to talk, have a little conversation with the crowd or whatever.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's sometimes it gets awkward to talk, so I envy the people that can just like do their thing and continue on. 'Cause yeah, it's hard to be a front person.
Yeah, it can be. I've never really had that fear has been gone a long time ago. I don't know. I never really. It's kind of hard to see all the people out there anyway. So it's almost like if you practice enough, you just kind of do it as a routine. It's not.
Right.
Or hopefully people show up. So it's more like you can really level in on those people and play to the people you love.
Right.
I haven't played anything too, not any giant venues or nothing big like that. So most of the places I play are not super big. So most times people I know there, and then people who pay attention on social media popping in and out. But I don't really like to play the bars too much. I'm a little more picky with a lot of the places I choose to play.
Right.
The bar, like late night bars, is just not really the style of music I play too much. So a lot more covers that way. But when I can find like a good intimate, like a brewery or a coffee shop or events, I like to go and play at events, like all sorts of events. You get it, but that's more of like how I like to play.
Yeah. Yeah, we really like doing like the rodeos and the fairs and stuff. We try to do a lot of that because that's kind of like the demographic I want to get to. Um, and it just seems like
I
those
bet
crowds
that's really
are
fun.
fun. It is a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean we do our
Everybody's
share of
coming to have
bar
a
gigs
good
too.
time.
What's that?
Your share of what? You do
We
your
do our
share of
share of
what as well?
we do our share of bar gigs too. I mean,
Or
we still do because
yeah, maybe I would like it a little more if I didn't spend. I don't really go to the bar. It's not really a spot I go to too much. It's too loud
yeah,
for me.
yeah.
especially when you go to see a band, and it's like when I go out, if I can get out the house, I'm gonna go see something I like. It's like I'm at the bar, everybody's talking, I'm trying to listen to the band I like, and I just get frustrated.
Right.
Whoa, aren't y'all listening?
I know it's tough because like the people that are at the bar, the majority of the time they're just there to be social and loud and drunk. They're not there for the band. So it's a lot easier to have a connecting audience if you're doing a fair or a festival or something to that or the brewery for
This
sure.
if I had a band, like yourself, that's more fun at the bar because then you got the
Yeah.
power behind you, and people
Right.
have to listen because you got a band. But me, like a guy who kind of does a lot of solo gigs, it's like, eh, just
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know. Still working. I haven't really done a whole lot of gigging. I'm kind of new to the gigging scene, and I like to work on my music and write my songs, and that's kind of been my more main focus over the last few years of taking music seriously is writing my songs and getting them recorded and learning that whole process and finding other artists to work with and trying to build a more of a community that way than going out and playing. But now I'm at the point where I'm really trying to start playing a lot more places, and I've met a few people with MCO or however you say it. I've got a few gigs through them, and so that's the part of my journey where I'm kind of growing. And like I said, I'm a little bit picky on where I play, so I'm kind of figuring it out where I
Yeah.
fit best in the aesthetic of things. And
It is hard to pick and choose, what venues and what events, are fit your style and your, you know, the direction you want to go for sure.
so, do you and your band? I know you have some music out there, but
Mhm.
how much music have do you have out on the
I
streaming
have
services?
I have two albums out. So the first one, I released in 2022, and that one has 7 songs on it. And then I just released another full album in August that has 10 songs on it. So I've got 17 out there now.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And are they songs that you guys write together, or how does your process work?
I did the majority of the writing myself. I think like 11 of those are mine. And then the rest, I have some family and friends in Nashville that um, have some writers that they usually pitch their songs to or whatever. And I got to pick some of those out of their catalogs and take them and kind of
Oh,
make them
cool.
my own style and record them. So that was a lot of fun too. It's cool to take other people's stuff and make it your own, um, which is really it's a whole process in itself to do both of those. But just having the experience in the studio down there and working with the musicians is really, really cool.
That's where you went for your album was
Yeah.
down in Nashville.
Yeah.
I bet that
Yep.
was awesome.
It was. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna do this and put it out, I just want to do it like top notch because, I want to be able to compete with what's on the radio now and have my sound be just, as quality as the next person and I've used that a lot to promote myself and get some really awesome shows and so it's been worth every penny of it besides just listening back and being like, wow, I'm super proud of that. So
Yeah, I
it's
get you.
yeah.
How long
So
did it take you to get your whole album done?
I was down there for a week. So we did uh so the musicians did all of the tracking in one day for all 10 songs. So we started at like 8 or 9 in the morning and they went until about 8 o'clock that night and got all the tracking done. And then I did like 3 or 4 songs a day for what, 2 or 3 days. And so because I mean when you're doing that it's like it's hard on you. You sing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and you get tired and your voice gets tired and they're just trying to get the very best out of you that they can. So it's that's pushing it to do about 3 songs a day.
I bet that's a lot of work.
It
I
is.
bet it's nice having somebody that's helping you out though.
It
Did
is.
you how does that work? Did you have to hire like your own producers or your own people and then or does the whole studio just they've got all the people?
So the first time, the guy that I was working with did all of his own producing, and then he found the musicians to hire out for the work. But the second time, the studio that I used had everything. They did all of it. So which was so the first time the guy that produced it was not the same guy that mixed and mastered it. So that was split. And then the second time, the same studio did the whole thing. So so they, you can suggest who you might want to work with, but it's mostly who's available because all of it is all the studio musicians are pretty much musicians that are out on tour with, big artists, and then on their free time, their off time when they're not on the road, then they come back and they do all this studio time for other musicians. So it's kind of just who's available when you're wanting to do it. But it's really cool because, you wouldn't think that someone that like us would have access to, uh, you know, Luke Combs drummer, but you do. You just be like, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is when I'm going to be down there, and those guys are, no different than us, and they come in and do their studio work, and you get to know them, and it's really really cool. So
I bet that
yeah.
is really cool.
So if you ever have the opportunity to go down and cut even one song in Nashville, it's a whole really, really cool experience.
I think that does sound really fun.
So you have music out. Did you, where did you get yours done, or how did you go about that?
So I have two releases. I have Outlaw Pody P, which is 4 songs, and then I have a cover of a song called Smooth by Rob Thomas out.
Okay.
And all of that I did in my home studio.
Oh,
And
awesome.
then so Outlaw Pody P is 4 songs. And then the third song on the EP is a song called Broken. And I had a bass player do that and send me it over. And then I had a drummer do it and send me over. And then I did the rest. And then there's a guy I work with who helps me with the finishing touches of like mixing and mastering. His name's Gary Van Luling.
Hmm.
He's a great guy. He's been helping me out. And then, yeah, and then when I bought my home, I built a studio in there and I just have been doing it all.
Cool. That's awesome. So so you have obviously like guitar, bass, drums, right?
Yeah,
For
so the first song on the EP is Issues, and that's just a guitar and me singing.
hmm
Then the next song is a song called One of a Kind, and that's pretty much all just my guitar and then I do my own layering and I do my own style of music and a lot of different guitar and I have a woman who did some background vocals on that song. Her name's
Cool.
Jewel Lord. And then the third song, I told you about that one already, but
Yep.
I had the drums and then the fourth song of that one is just another guitar song, guitar picking singing song. And then on my cover of Smooth, I had that guy Gary Van Luling. He did some guitar on that one too, but a lot
Cool.
of it's just guitar songs.
Yeah. Do you do a lot
This
of your
next,
own writing?
yeah, all my songs I write. I've got a new song coming out here in the next 2 months, hopefully a little bit before that next month called "I'll Be Mine." You can see like an acoustic version on my YouTube channel, but
Mhm.
I was just working on it yesterday. I just finished up this new studio in this place last week, so I've been itching to get in there and do some recording. And I had
Nice.
a guy, a drummer from Minneapolis. He did the drums, and I just finally got it back, and I was recording all day yesterday, and now I got to get the bass for it and then finish on my vocals, and that one should be out pretty soon. But pretty excited for that one.
Awesome.
Um, that's when I wrote all the lyrics to all the songs that are my own. I write all the lyrics to, and then I'll write the music for the most part, and then
Cool.
I've got another EP that's coming out within the next few months as well, which is so Outlaw Poet EP has 4 songs, which is my upcoming album. That's taken a while to get done, but and that's called Tales of the Outlaw Poet, and
Hmm.
that's this next EP also 4 more songs from that album, and then once I get that out, I'm not exactly sure which direction I'm gonna take for. I wanted the EPs to the songs to be a little bit different than the stuff that's gonna be on the album, just maybe
Uh-huh.
just a little different, just some artistry changing, and then
Yeah.
when I do this next album, I have 2 more songs that aren't on either of the EPs, and then I've got just a little bit of different vision for some of those songs. So all the songs are just going to sound like a little bit different here, a little bit different there. So and I got a couple other things working on that will be out in the next year, hopefully. But
Cool.
all the songs I write myself. The music sometimes I get a little bit of help writing them. That's more of the hard part for me is finding the music to fit the lyrics. So that takes a
Right.
while sometimes for me. But
Yep. I'm the same way. I can lay out lyrics, but then when it comes to putting it into music, I'm like, oh man. But I'm also not, a super great guitar player either. So, yeah, I struggle with that myself.
yeah, it just takes time and practice. The longer you sit at it, the longer you'll figure it out. I feel like most artists they kind of have a style and they kind of have a register and like
Hmm.
a lot of times your voice and your ideas kind of sit in the same registers and the same chord progressions for the most part.
Right, right.
So it's like you pick your 6 or 7 chords that you play a lot, and if you keep switching around, you'll find it sooner or later.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of how I do. So how often do you do shows out like at venues?
So okay, 2 summers ago, not last summer, but the summer before, I was playing. I don't know. I think maybe I had 10, 12 gigs that summer, but then this last year, I was traveling around the country for just some personal reasons and just some other reasons, and pretty much had to cancel all my gigs and all of my weddings and all my stuff that I had kind of accumulated. So now I'm back in Minnesota and working on kind of reestablishing some more gigs. And I met this guy, North Star Review, I think is what it's called. He plays
Mhm.
at Midway Saloon. His name's AJ Stone. I've been playing with him and some of his gigs. So he's put me on since I've been back, and he's been really cool.
Nice.
Um, just some other. I'm hoping this summer I'll be playing quite a bit, but we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I guess.
Yeah. Are you going to be at the award show?
No, no, not
What?
this year. Yeah, I wasn't able to make it happen this year, but hoping next year.
Yeah. Were you there last year?
No, I'm this summer, October or November is when I started
Oh, okay.
with the group.
Oh,
So I'm
so
pretty
you're
new to
you're
it in
pretty
general.
freshly new. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I just couldn't make it work this year, but
Yeah.
I'm bummed. I'm excited to see how everything turns out and
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I've been a member for about 2 years now, so not a whole lot longer than you, but um it's it's been really cool to get to know everybody in the organization and just be part of it because there's really nothing else like it for, like regional musicians, I don't think, in our
yeah,
area anyway.
and the Midwest is so slept on, and everybody
Yeah.
thinks it's either LA, Nashville, or
Yep.
New York, but
Yep.
a lot of good talent in the Midwest.
There is. There is. It's really cool. Um, yeah, otherwise I probably wouldn't be nearly as involved with stuff and you should definitely plan on going to the awards next year regardless because It's so inspiring. Like I left there and I was like, man, I am so fired up to just do a whole bunch of stuff and get, some music finished and just go full bore. So you should definitely make that work next year.
I forget his name. The guy who does the radio show.
PT?
I think that Paul, right?
Yeah,
I
Paul
think
Thomas.
Paul's his
Yeah.
name. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
He when I was talking to him because I was on his my song Issues was on his radio thing or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and he was talking all about it, how cool it was. I was like, oh, that sounds like such a blast.
Yeah.
Lots of I'll get there. I'll get there,
Yep.
but I just couldn't do it this year.
No, that's okay. Just keep plugging at it and pushing and going.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff that it's all been a little much trying to figure out and
Yeah.
follow along, honestly.
Yeah.
Being pretty new and trying to follow along some of the just with the show and the website and like people and just
Right.
figuring out kind of the way that the group works kind of. And I met some people have reached out and there's lots of really nice people on there, so it's
Good.
been great so far.
Good. Yeah, that's cool that you've at least gotten to take advantage of meeting these people and maybe getting some gigs out of the deal, and you'll make more and more contacts and more and more support from the artists that live around the area that you're in, and it'll be really good. I bet by this time next year you'll be just rocking it.
That's a goal. I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, because I think there's how far are you from the cities?
An hour.
Yeah, so there's tons of CMO members around the cities.
Yeah, one thing is, so what exactly is the gig board? Is that people are playing where their gigs are? Is that how that works?
Nope. So like a venue will have an opening for, a band and be like, okay, we're looking for a band for this weekend at Miss Kitty's or whatever. And so they'll post that in the group and on the gig board, and then you can get on there and look and see like what venues might have availability if you wanted to go play.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of it is in the Twin Cities, and so I can't ever take advantage of that, but that would be a great thing for you for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I had a hard time following some of that stuff. I wasn't even sure what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot at first because I was like, whoa, I don't understand what's going on. And then now the longer I've been part of it and the more that I see, then I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah. Yeah, the gig board is just a spot where people put, available gigs for anybody and everybody that might be available to play them.
Good to know. I'll keep
Yeah.
checking more.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, most of it is all around the cities, so you're in a good spot for that.
Have you ever been to any live shows in the Twin Cities? You ever
Mm-mm.
been to like the Varsity or?
Nope,
Oh,
never.
really? Okay.
Yeah. No, I
There's a
haven't.
lot of venues that are in the Twin Cities, that's for sure.
Yeah. I would love to try like this year to get a some kind of little like mini tour put together over there or something where we could come over and make it worthwhile and do, three or four or five shows and check out the area because we haven't spent any time in Minnesota.
Dang, that'd be a lot of shows.
I know. I know. And that might be over like 2 weeks or something, I don't know, but I just feel like there's so
Well, if
many
you ever
more.
get a chance to go like to First Ave or like the Palace or some of those bigger venues
Yeah.
that aren't like giant, they're really cool established venues that have been around for a long time.
Hmm.
A lot of cool places and a lot of rich Minneapolis music history, that's for sure.
That's cool.
Seventh Street entry right there on First Ave. Like a
Hmm.
lot of people have been through that, played that stage before they got huge.
Nice.
That's just like a little 200 seat, like, so there's First Ave, which is a big venue, not giant, but a bigger venue. And then Seventh Street entry is just a different door in the same building, and it's a smaller room. And like Billie Eilish, Green Day, like a lot of big, just like all sorts of random people have played that stage, and that's a really cool
Really?
spot.
That's cool. That's really cool. Do they do host smaller acts too, or is it just national
Yeah,
acts now? Yeah.
they do, and they a lot of local people. It seems like
Cool. That might be something I have to look into. That's called First Ave.
First Ave, yep.
Okay.
Seventh Street Entry is the other one, which is the smaller place. But a lot of big like a big people will play like they'll be coming into town to play like the XL Energy Center or whatever the Viking Stadium is, and then they're like,
Hmm.
well, we just want like a practice gig, so let's put on a gig at First Ave the day before while we're in town. And they
Cool.
come, they put on like a real intimate, awesome concert, and then the next day they're playing like the big stadium.
Nice. That would be so cool. I would love to play
Yeah.
a big stadium.
I think last time I was at First Ave was Hosier.
Okay. I've heard of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know really what it's all about.
First Ave or Hosier?
Hosier.
Hosier, he's the Take Me to Church guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
He's got a lot of other songs, but he's one of my top 30 favorites artists, probably.
Yep.
He's a great artist. He's from Ireland. He's like 6'8",
Really?
monstrous man. Plays like really pretty guitar, kind of like
Yeah.
poetic Irishy songs. He's got a huge voice.
I do
I
like,
remember,
yeah.
yeah, he's good. He's good. I remember I saw him at Bonnaroo in 2015. That was the first time I saw him, and he ended up Mumford and Sons headlined that night, and they had a bunch of people come up on stage with him that played that day, and it was like all the people like Hosier was like literally a foot taller than a lot of these other people. Like, holy, that's giant.
That's funny. Who do you think are like your influences or inspiration for your music?
Oof, there's so many. I'd have to break it up in stages, kind of, I guess, honestly, because like
Mhm.
the people you grow up listening to, like a lot of old country, and then but also a lot of like American rock, like Tom Petty,
Mhm.
that style, Stevie Nicks, a lot of old country. I come from a
Yeah.
pretty country background, like Willie Nelson, Marty Robbins, but then also a lot of James Taylor and Jim Croce, a lot of that style. But then when I kind of got into music on my own, I listened like John was Mumford and Son, Trail Turtles, so much. Right now, my top guys are Colter Wall, the Red Clay Strays, a guy named Paulo Nutini. Those are probably my
Okay.
top three right now. Camp. Do you know any of those guys?
I do, yeah. Red Clay Strays is really they've really skyrocketed lately, haven't they?
Yeah, the last 2 years they've gone from very small to huge, but
Yeah.
that guy is awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon, whatever it is, Brandon something. His voices, he's got to have one of the best voices I think in music.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. His
What
voice, I can just do it all day.
what do you think your like if you were to categorize your music, what do you think it is?
Hmm. Some people say bluesy folk rock, I guess. Kind of soul music, like
Okay.
with a country twang.
Yeah.
I kind of had hesitated joining the group because I was like, I'm not really country music, but
Right.
there's a hint of it in the storytelling. I
Hmm.
like to try to tell a story in my songs, and
Yep.
the lyrics always come first, the storytelling comes first, and the rest kind of fills its way out.
Yeah.
Another person who I like to compare myself to is a guy named Ray LaMontagne. Have you ever heard of
Okay.
him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the song Jolene? Like Zach Brown did a cover of it, like
Yep. Yep.
cocaine flame in my bloodstream. So he wrote that song,
Oh,
and
okay.
his first album was an album called Trouble, and that song was on that album. And that whole album that's one of the best albums I think ever written. But he's awesome. I like him a lot.
Cool.
And I have inspiration from him, and like I mentioned Jim Croce earlier, and like his
Hmm.
songs, like beginning of his song, the end of his song, there's a story being told, and like it's just captivating, and That's the goal. If I can tell a story that people want to listen to and can hear from beginning to end, then I feel like I've done a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely always drawn to a story song rather than, like a abstract idea or whatever, I guess maybe is the way to describe it. But yeah, like having a visual story to follow is definitely what grabs my attention first.
Yeah, same, definitely.
Yeah.
What was the question that you had just asked though? Who?
Um, like who are your influ or no, I asked if you were to like categorize your music and
Oh,
then we started talking about
oh.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I I got a long way to go on guitar, but I like to finger pick a lot. Like
Hmm.
I play a lot with like finger picking, but I've got a long way to go. I've got a
Yeah.
lot to learn. I just got my first Martin this summer, so every day I've just been trying to get better and better and better, better at writing, playing guitar. It's hard to be really good. There's a
It
lot
is.
out
It
there.
takes a lot of practice and a lot of dedication. You got to be passionate about it.
I Coulter Wall is a guy who I'm a huge fan of, and a lot of it is his guitar playing and his finger
Hmm.
picking, and it just blows me away how good he is. And it's like I have a goal. It's like if I can be half as good as Coulter Wall by the next 2 years, then I'll be satisfied.
Yep. That's awesome. That's a great goal to have. Very good goal.
I do like a lot of old timey bluegrass as well, though, like
Hmm.
Ralph Stanley like style bluegrass, like with those wailing harmonies and
Yep.
no drums, just a bass and just like that's that's kind of where my fundamentals came from is bluegrass music. A lot of it,
Okay.
a
Cool.
lot of bluegrass artists really were the inspiration for me to start really playing and loving music like I do now.
Yeah.
Like when I was, I don't know, I had to been mid high school, younger high school. I had gone to these bluegrass festivals that they have here in Minnesota, and you'd go to these bluegrass festivals, and these families with 8 kids would show up, and they'd hop on stage, and with mom and dad, there'd be like 10 people up on stage, and they all be playing a different stringed instrument, and they would have these harmonies that would just blow you out of the water, and I'm just like, wow, like
Yeah.
this is this is some incredible stuff, and
I
I was
love harmony.
the same. I'm not good at it. I try. I can get the melody down good, but
Yeah.
once it comes to harmonizing, you gotta tell
It's
me what to do.
right. It's hard. It took me a long time to be able to do it too. And at first, like if you just told me what to sing, I could copy it, but I couldn't find it by myself. And
Right.
um and I've come a ways with that. But yeah, I was like, I don't get it. I don't like I don't even
You think you got it, then you once it leaves your mouth, it's like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, just kidding.
yeah,
That's not
sorry, let
it.
me try again.
But
How
yeah.
would you how would you answer your own question?
I would consider my music very like Miranda Lambert style. Because I like it to be really punchy and sassy and whatever, but I still like to keep it traditionally country. I'm not borderline pop, pop country or whatever. I still definitely like, the steel guitar and the fiddle and whatever in it, and the storytelling, like you said. So, definitely very Miranda Lambert vibe.
Would you say that's some of your main inspiration is Miranda Lambert?
Yes. Yep. Definitely. Definitely
How's
a
your
lot
girl?
of I love as far as like fullness and harmonies and stuff, Little Big Town, just that
Okay.
like really rich harmony. So if you listen to the album that I put out in August, you'll definitely be able to hear like the Little Big Town kind of vibe too.
Let's see. I did listen through some of your tunes. I have. What's the name of that album? Let's look it up.
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. Yeah, you got some pretty good Spotify stats.
Yeah, I've been working hard on that. It's been a long go. In 2 years it's tough to build Spotify stuff for sure. And
Yeah, it is. You uh how would you say that you marketed your music for, or how would you say that you got those many listeners?
I did a lot of like making sure to make that a priority at my shows, like anytime there was dead space on the stage, where say, someone was switching guitars or we were between songs or whatever the case might be. Just being like, hey, you guys, please get on your Spotify or whatever, add this new song if you love it. I did a lot of marketing on like my Facebook and stuff. And just, or let's see, what else did I do? I reached out to a few playlist creators, and I did get a couple that kind of took off on a couple different playlists that are decently sized. So that was cool. So a lot of it comes from there because once it gets in, in an algorithm basically of those playlists, then it builds. But yeah, honestly, it's just constantly being like, hey, please, please add my stuff or, follow a lot of the following. And then every now and then I would do like, follow my music and be, entered for a blah, blah, blah or something to that effect. Or like, hey, we're, celebrating a milestone. So let's, help me get an extra 50 listeners this week or whatever the case is. Or, um,
Sure.
so that's been kind of cool, but yeah, it's not easy. I mean, that's a lot of work to put in, and you would think with the say thousands of people that heard my music over the last 2 years at shows or whatever, like the following there is still so small. So it's tough
Yeah, it's
to
tough,
get.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's I have learned though that Spotify way outweighs Apple Music in
Oh my
for
gosh,
everybody,
yeah, so much,
which is weird because I'm
so
an
much.
Apple user, but
Are
yeah,
you okay?
it's like it's crazy when like do you have a TuneCore account or like a distro account or anything like
DistroKid is what I
yeah,
use.
so my that's virtually the same thing as my TuneCore account. It's just, who
Okay.
you put your music out with. But when I look at like the stats or whatever on there, it's, you know, Apple Music is like this much and Spotify is like this much. It's
Same.
crazy. And I don't know.
I wonder if that's because Spotify has so much more people, or
Yeah.
they're they seem to like to push out their music a little more. They definitely
Mhm.
help me pump out some of my music more. Like
Yeah.
if I could get people coming to that song like right away, they kind of pushed it out more.
Right.
YouTube is how do you do much on YouTube? I mean, do you have
I'm
any podcasts and
starting to
stuff?
try to do more. I'm not good at YouTube and it's never been my priority. Like Facebook and and Spotify have been like my two platforms that I've really tried to push hard on because I felt like I had the best following on those and I need to be better about my Instagram too, and that's building, but I've never really put that much effort into my YouTube and I probably should. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's tough with all the different social medias.
It
YouTube
is.
has been pretty good to me.
Is it good?
They really boosted my. I put out when I put out the Allah Poet EP. I put it out as a whole on YouTube, and then I put out some lyric videos. But with
Mm-hmm.
DistroKid, they'll put out the your own YouTube videos as well. But
Oh, cool.
and the EP, they really pushed that for me. All of a sudden, I was getting like thousands of views, and I check every time. It'd be like, I think I ended up getting like 22,000 views on
Sweet.
YouTube, and like a few days, like after like 4 or 5 days of releasing, all of a sudden it went out, and they're pumping it on like Zach Bryan videos and just other stuff like that. And
Cool.
so if I can get that with them again, I'm ever since then I was like, all right, YouTube. But also they have a partner program where like once you get 500 subscribers and once you get 3,000 listening hours altogether. If you can do it in a year, then you become a partner with them, and they'll get paid and give you all sorts of other opportunities. So
Oh, I didn't know
anybody
that.
watching, go subscribe my YouTube channel, please, Johnny Williams Music.
Yeah, I didn't know
But
that.
yeah, it's
That's cool.
it's hard. Yeah, so like you can get something called YouTube Studios on your phone or on
Okay.
whatever you use. I think it's on your phone,
Yep.
and then you can go and you'll see it's worth it. It's worth
Okay.
getting that, and then you can see exactly how many hours and they'll start paying you and like they'll start paying you for your ads that are on your videos and all sorts of other
Really?
stuff.
So do you have
Spotify,
to get to that 500 follower mark before you can use the YouTube Studios?
no,
Okay.
you get the YouTube Studios first, and then once you make your like goal with them, like you become a partner kind of with them, and then they'll track your stuff for a year. And once you reach a certain point, then it's like if you can get to a certain point with the app and with them after 1 year, then you become like a paid partner.
Oh, okay.
They'll push your stuff out more, and they'll try to help
Cool.
you out. Allegedly, we'll see. We'll see if I can get to 500. I've been stuck
Allegedly.
at 295 for a while, so
Well, you'll have
looking
296
for
when
that
we're
number.
done here.
Yes, everyone counts. I go and my family members like, "Hey, you subscribe to my YouTube." Well, I don't even use YouTube. It's like, well, perfect. Give me your phone.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that now. Like I said, I know very, very little about the ins and outs of YouTube, so that's a good little tidbit of information to have.
Well, YouTube is the number one like media site for all things in the world.
Hmm.
It surpasses everything else by a lot. It surpasses Google when it comes to media. So it's like if you can catch the right wave on YouTube,
Right.
it's gonna because there's just way more people that are on it that are using it. Spotify, there's a lot, but people I feel like there's not as many people on Spotify that are like exploring or
Right.
looking for something new. Like Spotify, like
Right.
I'll find my favorite artists, and I don't really listen to other playlists too much. I like to
I
listen to
don't
my music
either.
and I like my music to be on there. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
YouTube is kind of like you're not paying attention and they throw it on. Like YouTube will be like,
Right.
here, this song kind
Yep.
of sounds like a Zach Bryan song. We'll give you a shot. People are listening to whatever, something in the orange, and then all of a sudden they're not paying attention. The next song that comes on is your song, and all of a
Yep.
sudden, if one out of 500 people listen to that song, a song that's got a bunch of listeners on it, that's a lot of people come to your
Yeah.
profile.
Absolutely. I'm definitely gonna look that in up now.
But posting content is not easy. It's a
No,
lot of work.
it is. It's a
Not
ton of
easy.
work. Yeah, I feel like I have that day job and my regular day job and my
Yeah,
music
it's
job.
exhausting.
It is. I could easily come home and spend another hour or more a night just making content. And that's just like simple content. That's not, you know, filming anything and editing it and blah, 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 blah.
Right,
And then you're supposed
right.
to, do that 3 times a day. Like, I don't, I can't,
Ugh,
just can't.
it is. And it's annoying because like Instagram and like all the algorithms are always changing. So it's like
Hmm.
a few years ago, you'd have to have, it was a lot easier for your stuff to go viral if you
Right.
had a good video because they could pump it out. But now it's like, well, you didn't post anything in the last 3 days, so
Yep.
we'll just put at the bottom of everybody's list. It's like, oh,
Exactly. It's a,
this one was good. Come on.
right? It's a black hole that just sucks you in
Right.
and you just spend all your time trying to get to the top. But it's such a necessity in the world of music that we live in now. You can't skip that. You can't cut corners on it or you're you're really a SOL.
Yeah. Yeah. People want to have something that they could go back and check you out. And,
Yep.
you know, it seems like people want to, they can like your music, but if they don't like your vibe and they don't like your social media, then it's like they're not going to be as
Yep.
inclined to follow you and pay attention.
Right. Yeah, that's they want to
Tough.
know. Yeah, they want to connect with you on a different level other than just music. Like they want to relate to what you got going on in your life too.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard. If I ever crack the code on making social media super easy, I'll let you in on it.
I'll be waiting.
Oh man. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with me and chatting and just having a good old conversation of getting to know each other.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on, and it was nice to officially meet you.
Yeah, it was it's cool to get to do this. I started out doing it to just make better connections because I am so far away from the majority of the artists, and then I was like, well, while I'm at it, we should just try to share tips and tricks with each other to see, like, hey, I tried this and it worked for me. You should try it. Or just like the, YouTube studio thing. And so that's been really awesome too. So I hope that it's becomes a benefit. I know it can get kind of long listening to an entire conversation, but I'm gonna try to be better about like highlighting what is covered in, each video so that people can be like, oh, this one's about social media. Like that's what I really need help with, or, whatever. But otherwise, it's been just
Sure.
really fun to get to know you.
Yeah, it has, and I'll be rooting for you all the way out here in Minnesota.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, have a good time at the awards show.
Yeah, yeah, we will. I'm gonna hold it to you to be there next year.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. We'll talk soon.
All right, talk to you later. Thanks.
Yep. Bye-bye.